All right, well, the hour is here, and it looks like we've got pretty close to the number that were confirmed. So
Very cool.
we'll get going here. Thank you guys for being here. This is a series of calls that we've been doing to try to put out some information to the athletes for their competitive season coming up. So we're going to take a little bit of time and just talk through the season from the Open coming up through the CrossFit Games, and just give you guys as much information as we can heading into things. This is all done kind of in an effort to be a little bit more forthcoming with information earlier for you guys, so you can plan your season, you can train as best you can, and ultimately show up and perform as best you can. We took some feedback from years past where, athletes felt like they weren't getting enough information, or that they really had to go digging for it themselves, through the rule book or otherwise. And we thought, well, why can't we be better about putting that forward to you guys earlier? So that's what we're here to do.
Cool.
So the kind of the overview here is I'm going to take a look at kind of the broad picture of the season. There's three main components for you guys: the Open, the online qualifier, and then the final. We'll just kind of look at what that maps out to be over the year. And then we'll look at each one of those pieces with the details that we have right now. And you guys know it wouldn't be the CrossFit Games without some things that we can't tell you. So we can't give you everything on this call, but we are going to try to give you as much information as possible so that you guys can be prepped and ready. At the end of the chat, if you guys have any questions, either just hold on to them or feel free to dump them in the Zoom chat, and we'll be monitoring that. And at the end, if there's anything that's not addressed or something comes up, then we'll talk through and make sure you guys leave with as much information as you can. So I'm going to share my screen here real quick. And we're going to start with just this overview of the season. If you guys wouldn't mind, just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Right on. Okay. So for you guys, the Masters, we've got three main points of competition this year, like we've done in years past. Obviously 2020 was a bit of a bummer year in a lot of ways for a lot of us, but good news is we're getting back to it in 2021. So we're going to start with the Open. You guys, I'm sure you're well aware that that's coming up pretty quick. So that's going to kick off March 11th through 31st, and everybody's welcome to participate in that. And it's going to be the first funnel if you want to compete further along in the season. So it's a $20 registration fee like usual. The little asterisk there is because we are offering a lower registration rate for some people in certain economies in different countries. So it does adjust a little bit in some regions this year. That competition is going to be 3 weeks this year. So 3 weeks of the Open, and those workouts are going to be announced weekly like they have been in the past. So this year, for the online qualifier, we're going to take the top 10% from each division. And so that number could amount to be a lot more than the 200 or the 100 that we've done in the past for you guys. So there's going to be a larger pool for most divisions that qualifies into that online qualifier coming up in May. So we'll take the top 10% in each division. That'll be May 6th through 10th online. It'll be $50 to register. And it's going to be a pretty similar format to what you guys have had in past years, where you'll have a bunch of workouts to do, you'll have a deadline to do them, and it's on you to turn in your best performances. So then moving forward after that online qualifier will be the finals in Madison. And from that, we're going to take the top 20 from each division. So we're back to the top 20 out of each division competing in Madison at the finals in July. And that'll be a $250 registration fee, and the competition is going to be held July 27th through August 1st. So that's the big picture of the season. And so we take a look at the Open here. Just a couple details to share with you guys. Some of it's going to be pretty straightforward, and some of it's going to be a little bit more detailed than maybe you've seen in the past. So first of all, general information, again, it's $20 to sign up, 3 weeks. And just like last few years, we're going to release the workouts on Thursday evening at 5 p.m. PST, and you'll have until Monday evening at 5 p.m. Pacific time to submit your score for that event. And that'll happen for 3 weeks. The equipment that you guys are going to need to have access to is 1 dumbbell, and I've got the weights there listed. So the 35 to 55-year-olds, you're going to need a 50 or a 35-pound dumbbell. And the 55 plusers, you guys are going to need a 35 or a 20, depending on man or woman. You're going to need a barbell and a standard set of bumper plates with some collars. You'll need a jump rope, a pull-up bar that you can do all the hanging pull-up movements from, including kipping, and a box that has at least a 15 by 15 inch surface. And then you'll also need some wall space. So if you guys are, you're not sure if your particular region is going to be shut down, you won't be able to make it to the gym, try to start sourcing that equipment if you can, if you're worried about being locked down somewhere. And then the advancing there. So like I mentioned, the top 10% are going to advance to the online qualifier from each division. And the way we're going to establish the number of eligible competitors will be, we'll take a look at the registration at the close of 21.1. So after that workout is finished, registration will effectively be locked for your division. There'll be other people that can register, but they won't be eligible to move on. So that number is going to represent the total number in your division, and then 10% at the top, at the end of the open, get to move on to the online qualifier. And just a kind of a point of competition hygiene here. We've been doing these calls all week with different divisions, and the message here is just start getting in the habit of recording all of your workouts, even if you don't plan to video submit them. Like we have done in years in the past, we'll be recommending that you guys video them, and then we'll be requesting some of the videos to verify, even if you don't video submit. And for you, the athlete, I mean, this really does provide another layer of both protection if you feel that you had a good score that, got, for whatever reason, people didn't think that score was so valid. You can back up your own performance, so make sure it's lit well and that it's recorded in a way that is kind of in line with the standards we put out there. It really does offer you guys a really great verification of all of your hard work. Okay, so that's the open. Shouldn't be a lot of surprises there. Moving on to the online qualifier. We're moving into May here. So early May, you guys are going to compete online again. And it'll be the top 10% from each division. The scorecard is going to reset. So whatever you did during the open, that was the open. When you move forward to the online qualifier, everybody resets to 0 and it's its own competition. And you'll be in that group of you that move forward from your division. It's $50 to register. Like I said, it's online and it'll follow a similar format to what you guys have seen in the past. So the equipment, the requirements are going to expand just a little bit here. So again, if you need to start thinking about sourcing some stuff, we're going to recommend all of the open equipment, as well as some space to move around. Some movements that might be covering some distance could show up. You'll need a climbing rope, a medicine ball, 2 dumbbells with the same weight that you used during the open, but a pair of them instead of one, a rower, some rings, a GHD machine, and a squat rack. Okay, so you guys keep that in mind if you're planning to advance forward in the season. And again, if you're concerned that you're in a region where it might be difficult to get to the gym, start thinking about how you can beg, borrow, or steal some of this equipment to get it ready to go. For this competition, again, shouldn't be a lot of surprises here. You guys will need to provide your own judge. And again, little competition hygiene. It's in your guys' best interest to have a judge that's completed the 2021 judges course. That's going to be a requirement. And it's also something that you guys would hopefully look for. And pick a judge that's going to hold you accountable. Again, this is one way that you guys can make sure that your performance is as valid as possible and as bulletproof as possible. If you have somebody that's going to hold you to it before your score gets submitted, it's going to make it a smoother process all the way down the track. So choose your judge wisely. And again, just get in the habit of videotaping those performances. So then from here, we're in that online qualifier. The top 20 from each division are going to move forward to the CrossFit Games. And so that's when we'll all meet in Madison in July. So I'm not going to go over too many details there. That competition, I mean, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the insanity of the games, and a lot of that can't be revealed until much later in the season, so we're not going to spend too much time there. I just want to give you guys a couple of other kind of broad strokes about the season. First is about drug testing, and this is something that I think everybody knows takes place, but maybe not to the degree that it takes place. So throughout the year, we're going to be randomly testing people. We've always done that, and we'll continue to do that. And historically, we test about, well, over 400 athletes every year. And so we're going to continue to pursue that and expand on that. And then at the finals, when we get to Madison, any athlete who gets to the podium will be drug tested automatically. And throughout that competition on site, we will be doing random testing throughout the week. So just a little insight there. And just have some general things for you guys to start thinking about with the various stages of competition, both outside on the online portions and the in-person competitions. Just some of my best practices for you guys to think about. So first of all, for online competitions, just get in the habit of videotaping all those workouts for the reasons I talked about earlier. And just make sure that that video is set up the way that we recommend, and that you review it before you submit it. This one's always a little surprising to me when you see some people that send in their video and you're like, you clearly didn't watch that before you sent it in. Again, it's in your best interest. You, the athlete, get a lot out of that, making sure that you've got a bulletproof video sent in. It's going to be that keystone in making sure that we get the right people to the right competitions. So just take a few extra minutes to set that up and get it right. When we move on to the in-person competitions, again, it's in your best interest to make sure that you guys are paying attention to the schedule. We're going to do everything we can to communicate with you guys as soon as possible to know your heat times, etc. But if you get in the habit of just checking in with us regularly on the other end, then we can connect those dots and make sure that everybody's in the right place at the right time. You guys know from past years, I'm sure, that competing in person can be some long days. So make sure that you show up ready to go with whatever it is that you need to be prepped for that long day on site. And that's going to help you guys make sure that you get the best out of yourselves at that competition. A few general support things. You've always got the rule book that you can fall back onto. I know it's a little tricky to navigate. It's pretty dense. So if you have questions along the way, please reach out to us, support@crossfitgames.com email. Our team there is always happy to help you guys out with questions or concerns. So reach out to us early and often if you have anything at all that you need, and we'll get you squared away. Another thing that we're trying to spearhead this year is an athlete newsletter, and we're hoping to get the first issue out before the Open starts. And that's another tool that we're going to use to try to talk directly to you guys, the athletes, to help prep you for the next stage of competition that's coming up, and just to keep you in the loop with everything that's going on a little bit more proactively. So pretty excited about that, and you guys can watch for that coming down the pipe as well. So last but not least here, we've got just a little cheat sheet at a glance calendar for the year for you guys. And this kind of gives you a sense of how you can maybe map out your training a little bit. We're coming up on March, where the Open's going to start with the 3 weeks there of competition. And then you guys are going to have about a month off, just over a month before the age group online qualifier kicks off. So you got a nice gap there to get prepped for that. And then once we clear the online qualifier, you guys have looks like about 10 weeks. So another good block of training there to get prepped for the games at the end of July. Okay, so that's kind of the cadence for your guys' season, just at a glance. So that's the overview. I'm going to click off my sharing here. And just going to take a look through the chat here for some of the questions. First of all, Angel's got the support@crossfitgames.com email in the chat. If you guys don't have that, feel free to copy that out, or you can just remember it. And I got a question from Justin here about any specific GHD. And the answer is yes. We'll have to release a specific height on that. And if you guys go back and take a look at the stage 1 of the 2020 games, you can reference some of the standards that we put out there. It'll probably be similar. At this point, we don't know exactly what it's going to be. But what we did for those guys, because it was a virtual competition that required a GHD, is we gave them a measurement from the floor to the top of the pad. And we based that off of the most common models out there. And then they could either like build up the pad underneath it to raise the GHD if they needed to, or if their GHD was too high, they could put a target that they'd reach back to that made up the difference. Okay, so there's going to be a couple ways that we can make sure everybody's playing on an even field with that one. Does that answer your question, Justin?
Yes.
Right on. No problem, man. Cool. A change in coverage or live streaming for the Masters. That's a great question. And to be perfectly honest, I do not know what the broadcast plan is at this point for Masters at the Games. See who else is on this call that might be able to speak to that.
I can answer that, boss.
Oh, great. I didn't see you there, Justin. Awesome.
Sorry, I've been lurking. Yeah, so the plan is for this year to have streaming coverage of the Masters and the teenage divisions. And so we are planning to reinstitute that and to have you guys compete on several of the same main competition floors that we'll be using for the teams and the individuals. And so we're making every effort to make sure that we utilize North Park and the Coliseum and any outside courses that are produced, and kind of shift away from having an age group specific pavilion, but instead making sure you guys have access to the kind of premium facilities around the campus.
Cool. Thanks for that. The specific check-in game date for the games, Justin, again, I think you can back me up on this, but I think we're going to have everybody arrive on that Monday, the 26th. Is that correct?
Lucas or Curtis might have the answer to that. I don't.
We don't have specific, this Wilson, we don't have specific days for check-in yet based on competition. More to come on that piece.
Great. Okay, yeah, as soon as we have that and that's established, we will pump that out to you guys so that you can start your planning for that. Ron, you're asking about drug testing, I'm assuming. Will there be required testing? And the answer is yes. For, again, the games season, we're going to be doing some random testing, and the podium finishers will be, for COVID testing. In the finals, at the finals, with the COVID testing, I think it's too soon to tell at this point that plan. You know, for an event in July, we're going to have to wait and see what things are looking at, but we're going to take every precaution that is necessary at the time to make sure that we can hold that competition in person. Good question. Is there a plan B if complications? And, hey, Mitchell, I think your phone is getting a little static there. You mind putting us on mute for a second? Thanks, man. Yes, for COVID, we are planning a contingency. This is straight from Dave. He's very adamant that the dates that we're putting forward are when the competition will be held. If the world is in a place where we cannot hold in-person competitions, then we will take that competition online, and we're going to have a way for people to compete and, you know, crown the fittest out there. So yes, there's plan Bs in place. You know, we're very hopeful that it's not going to come to that, especially moving further and further down the track this year. But if that does happen, we are planning to compete in a different format that still allows you guys to get after it. Cool. So dates are firm. For now, we're planning to be in Madison. If that changes, we'll let you know as soon as possible, and we'll compete anyway. Cool. Question is too long to type. Can I just chime in? Yes, please. Justin, go ahead, man.
I'm sorry, I'm horrible at typing and it's way too long. Have you guys considered doing the age group qualifier the same way you did individuals games qualifier, where you said, hey, you have 2 hours to do workout 1 and so on? I mean, just I love what you guys are doing. I'm so glad, that everyone's kind of coming together with this stuff. But that seems like more of a realistic competition in a sense. I don't know the logistics and how hard that stuff is to run. So I'm just wondering.
Yeah, we're definitely looking at, we probably won't do the age group online qualifier this year the way that we did for the stage 1 of the games last year, where there was such a priority on only being able to do the workouts once and in a specific order and in that time frame. What we are looking at, though, is giving you guys a little bit of a different time frame with which to submit certain events. Okay, so instead of having the entire 5 days and it's just up to you, we are looking at creating some smaller, tighter windows to mimic exactly what you're talking about, a little bit more competition pressure to get that out. And again, when we have those dialed in, we will let you guys know. And that information is probably going to be coming out post-open for you, okay?
And I'll add to that. Hey, Justin, the other reason that we like that is we think it's a better athlete experience, that when people are submitting videos throughout the weekend, they can be reviewed and also appealed, and you can kind of defend your score rather than collecting all the videos and then submitting all the videos in one big batch after the competition's done. Affords you as an athlete more flexibility in the event that there's an issue with the video or something that's appealable. So ultimately that should create a better athlete experience, and that's why we like it for that reason.
Yeah, and it adds the pressure too that you can't redo the workout like 5 times. All right, sweet. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I mean, are you guys? I have a ton of questions, but I'll let somebody else go.
Okay, I got a question from Ron coming in about sanctions for masters of some of the larger events, i.e. the Masters Fitness Collective or the Granite Games. That's something that in the future, I think we'll definitely take a look into how we can get some of these more established competitions feeding into the season. Obviously for this year, those aren't going to feed into the games finals, but we're always looking at ways that we can start to bring some of those established competitions into the fold. So no guarantees, but we're definitely looking into things like that.
Yeah, and to chime in on that, so we've got positive, and we're in kind of continuous dialogue with a variety of different events, a couple different in the master space, some teenage events, and some outside the United States as well. And so we see this as an area where there's been a lot of demand, and there's a lot of good event organizers that would really like to produce more in-person events. And so for this year, the finals, the track that Boz laid out with the open, the age group qualifiers, and then the finals is kind of the preferred path. But that doesn't mean that will be the only set of masters events that CrossFit will partner with. And we do kind of acknowledge there's some really good events that are taking place right now that are CrossFit competitions, and we're looking forward to supporting those guys. And as that builds out, especially around the world, we want to be involved with more of those events and where we can add value.
Adrian, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go for it.
So again, I was talking to Curtis before everybody got on, and we were talking a little bit about the collective that was in Indiana, and they did the testing. It was pretty much the rapid test, so it was done in like 15 minutes prior to check-in. Is there any plan on possibly doing that? Because that worked out really well. And hearing back from them, those guys basically, they did a check before the event and then a check after the event to just kind of qualify those results. And from my understanding, there's like only one person that slipped through, and from that, nobody else got any problems. So.
Yeah, that's great. And Curtis, you want to go? I was just going to say that, this year with the finals, I know it was a really reduced finals that we had with the individuals, but we did have a pretty strict COVID testing regimen there. And, I think we can use that as a template moving forward. And we'll see where the world is in July when we all get there on site. Curtis, what were you going to?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of that, the other issue with the rapid test is the accuracy just isn't as good as the ones that take longer to get the results back on. So that's one of the reasons that we didn't do as much of the rapid testing last year, because it requires multiple tests in order to have a true negative to get somebody inside the safe zone.
Okay, I got a question from Dusty here. He said he hopped on late, and did they miss anything from the top? No, I don't think so. We just went over the big blocks of competition in the overview, and then we dove into each one with a little bit more detail. So I don't think you missed too much. Cool. Any other questions? If you guys have a question and you want to, unmute and chime in or type it into the chat, feel free.
I got a question. Is there any timeline set up on whether or not the Masters are going to be at the beginning of the week or the end of the week or the same time as the Open and individual athletes?
For the finals in Madison?
Yeah.
Yeah, that schedule hasn't been established yet. Certainly not finalized.
Adrian, any suggestion on or any thoughts on putting out suggested camera angles so it's easier for you guys to judge our videos, when we get the standards on the, scorecard and all that stuff? I mean, I imagine you guys see some crazy videos.
Yeah, Justin, that's a great point. And we learned a lot last year from doing that stage 1 competition with the individuals. And that's exactly what we did. We gave a little schematic and it showed how to set up the event, how to shoot it. And we plan to do that going forward with a lot of these events. So we'll absolutely take that lesson that we learned last year and start to apply it moving forward, because it was useful across the board. It was great for us. It took the guesswork out of it for you guys competing. So yeah, it was a big win all around. Will this video be available to watch later? Yes, absolutely. So these series of videos, we wanted to invite you guys in so that you could hear it from the horse's mouth, but we certainly don't want to exclude anybody that couldn't be here. So the intent is that we're going to take this chat, record it, and then we'll put it up online on the YouTube page so that anybody that couldn't be here has access to all this information as well. Question about the Open. And so again, when we move from the Open to the online qualifier, the scores will reset. So it's its own competition. You get your score at the Open. Once you qualify through that gate to the online qualifier, scores reset back to 0, and you're in that pool of 10% fighting for that top 20 spot. Any other questions we can help you guys with?
Hey, Adrian, I hopped on just a little late, and then you were really kind of going into depth, and I was excited to hear that you're going to open up the workouts, or you have plans to incorporate the Masters in, if all goes well, in Madison, outside of that, the sort of cordoned off Masters deal. Could you just quickly, could you just go over that one more time? Just what your thoughts were on that? Because that's pretty cool, and
yeah,
excited about it.
Justin's got the best info on that. Justin, you want to repeat what you had there? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, what was the question?
The question was, there's talk about having the Masters compete in different venues around Madison, to include some of the venues that the individuals will be competing at. What's that looking like so far?
So the goal right now, and how we communicate this and when check-in and all that will take place will be communicated later. But we are going to have Masters media coverage this year. And the intent is to use the North Park, the Coliseum, and any of the outside courses that we have available to the individuals and teams, but to try to cycle the teenagers and Masters through those venues. And the intent right now is to no longer use a dedicated kind of pavilion where you guys had been in previous years, but instead use the North Park and the Coliseum and the main competition venues exclusively.
Thank you. Thanks, man. That's awesome.
Since we're paying for the qualifier, is prize money going up? Asking for a friend.
There's always one.
It's a great question. Lucas, do you have any insight into that?
No, I don't have any insight on that.
Not at this point. All right, we will let you guys know as soon as we know.
I have a question about the Open. I think I read in the rule book there's a new rule, or maybe it's a temporary rule for COVID, that allows us to post our scores without having to post a video and even if we do them at home, our affiliate can validate the scores. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, so that's almost correct. The detail in that is that we are going to ask you guys to judge via Zoom. And Mitchell, I think you're back on some static there.
Oh,
thanks, man. So yes, if you have the scenario where you can't get into your affiliate because it's closed, there's COVID restriction, whatever, we don't want that to stop anybody from competing and putting forward their performance. So what we can do is you can compete wherever you happen to be, if that's your home or wherever you can be. You can have your judge from your affiliate Zoom in and verify your performance that way via Zoom and submit your scores through that. Okay. Again, if you guys are looking to move forward, always a good idea to have the backup video on your own, and that will also help to protect you. If there's any question, somebody's like, wow, they did a Zoom judge. Well, hey, I have the video as well. Even though I didn't do a video submission, here it is. If there's any question at all, protects you as an athlete, and you've got that as well. But we are allowing for that this year for those circumstances where people aren't going to be able to make it into their affiliate.
Right. So I have an in-person judge who has the judges course.
Yep.
But my affiliate is 30 kilometers away and not open.
Yep.
We're shut down in Canada right now. So that was why I asked. So I have to videotape or Zoom video and record it and make sure that my affiliate has watched it at some point. It may not be live when I did it, but he's seen it before he validates my score.
No, the intent is that you would have, just like we're setting this call up now, you set up your laptop where you're about to do it, you coordinate that time with your coach, and they judge you in real time doing the workout. And then what I would recommend as a backup, if you can, film it to make sure that you have record of it as well, just as, that second layer of protection. But the process, it would be as if that person was judging you just via distance. So it's when you do the workout in real time, you'd set up that Zoom conference and then judge you through it.
Okay, because usually my judge and my affiliate are two different people. So my affiliate isn't a person necessarily that's counting my reps and calling out no reps during my event.
And that's fine. The intent is just that you have a judge in real time watching you do the event.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Justin LaSala, hey, listen, if you want to make some money, we can bet on this thing. If you want to do that.
If we qualified for the games last year, can we have your profiles updated? Yeah, we'll get on that. Make sure you guys have those accurate profiles.
What about the coin? Can we get the coin, the commemorative coin?
I honestly don't know what the commemorative coin is, but we'll make sure we get you.
What about the gear? How about the gear?
Yeah. I mean, I'll settle for the coin. I think
the coin's the best part.
Justin's got an answer on that one. Come
Justin, I'll send you a quarter.
Yeah, okay. So Justin asked, so Justin will answer. Hey, Justin, come get it this year. We'll get you a great uniform kit, and we're going to be cheering you on to come out there and compete all over these venues, and then live stream your performance there. So
I love the challenge. Thank you.
I love it.
Accept it.
Awesome.
Boz, there's another one about videoing the workout just above the updating the profile.
Yeah, gotcha. About the Open. Yeah. So again, the filming of the Open. Let's just be clear about that. You guys are not required to video every single event. I do highly recommend it, though. Like we've done in years past. We may request some of the videos from you guys. And again, it's in your best interest to have record of that performance. It's not required though. You can still do the Open the same way that you've always done it. Because these online competitions are probably going to be a real thing for a lot of us for, the near future moving forward. It's just a great habit of a little bit of, like I said, competition hygiene to get into that rhythm of, I always have my backup copy of my workout just in case. Helps to protect you as the athlete and make sure that you've got records of all of this stuff. But if you want to just have you go into your affiliate, you have your judge, and you submit like you've always done during the open, that is great. Cool. All right, any other questions we can answer for you guys? All right, well, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day. Like I said, we're going to be trying to communicate with you guys more frequently and more often to get you guys prepped for the next stages of competition. Please reach out to us with the support email if you need anything, and good luck out there. We'll see you guys on the leaderboard.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Good to see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Boz, what about you and Rory? What's up with that?
Oh man, the talks have begun. We'll see. We'll see what we
Thank
can
you.
do.
Thank you.
Take care, brother.
See you, Ron.
Thanks, guys.